بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوا على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. My respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Arguably one of the most valuable assets in any human being's life is his or her identity. Do I believe in something that I truly believe in? How do I know what I believe is legitimate or is true? Am I me? Who am I? And who are you? Am I just a set of names, features, and qualities? How do I get to the point and essence of who or what my being is? And this topic is valid and controversial at the same time, because many people who tend to not recognize the essence of their identity opt to identity crisis, where they don't know what point or what significance lies within their lives. They don't see what's going on in the future. They don't know what's happening right now. And so they find a lack of significance in their being, which unfortunately can lead to many calamities and horrible, wrong choices. One may take their own life. They find insignificance. What's my point? What's my being? Who am I? What's my identity? And this concept of understanding and knowing your identity, yourself, your nafs, is part and parcel within every single Muslim, especially Western Muslims' life. Because we tend to be viewed as a minority living in a majority non-Muslim country. And so we're the focus, we're put on a pedestal. The light, the attention is placed upon us. You people, you guys, you girls. And many of us tend to have weak identification within our own self. That if I am told I'm not welcomed or I don't belong here, I may opt to letting go of my morals and my principles. My identity was shaky to begin with. Someone then comes and tries to ostracize me, marginalize me, the identity is gone. I don't know if I believe in what I believe based off of truth, objectively. Let's say if I was born in a different country, I would have probably not ended up being a follower of Ahlul Bayt. Perhaps if I was born in Tibet, Allah may have made me born in a country like Tibet, okay? I may not have been a follower of the Ahlul Bayt. I could have been Buddhist, for example. Or perhaps I was born in the Vatican or Italy or Rome, maybe Roman Catholic. Because of the fact that I came from a particular family who was born and raised in a particular country, I ended up in this way. So how do I know what I believe in is true? Where can I find this? This identity crisis falls in every single one of us. It's common to see, and it's not surprising. So we have to start by reassessing, refreshing, and reevaluating who we are and how we identify ourselves in relation to modernity. How does the modern society recognize and identify people? Generally, when someone's being interviewed, they present them by saying either their name. Let's say their name is MohammedHassan. That's a name. But is that necessarily you? You're a shareholder of that name. That name is not reflective of you only. There have been other MohammedHassans before you. And so when you say Muhammad, it's not necessarily going to be you. It doesn't postulate you. Yes, you may associate with that name, but that name is not you. So what else do they bring forward? Perhaps, let's say their occupation, student, or accountant, or bookkeeper, or banker, or whatever it may be. An occupation is also not you, brothers and sisters, because it's a line of work. You happen to be skillful in this line of work, therefore you're identified and associated with it. But that's not you. And perhaps a number, 17. I'm a little bit older than 17. But let's say their age. That age is contingent, it changes. And you are not made for that age. You will go and grow and move on forth. So generally you find three assets, three features: name, occupation, and age. That's how we in common society recognize people. That you are a name, you are your occupation, you are your age. But is that truly you? One of the most interesting concepts that relates to this discussion of identity and recognizing yourself and nafs is this very interesting paradox called the ship of Theseus paradox. where it states in Greek mythology that there was this champion known as Theseus who slayed a monster on his way back, who slayed like a minotaur, a monster, a fictional creature. On his way back to Athens, Greece, with his ship, the Athenians wanted to honor him for achieving this wonderful accolade. And so they said, we're going to preserve and maintain your ship for the next 1,000 years in honor of what you accomplished. After 50 years, they have the ship docked on the sea, but they just preserve it in honor of this man that used the ship and sailed with it. After about 50 years, the ship needs maintenance, and so a floorboard may get weak. They'll come and replace it. 100 years later, they've replaced all the floorboards. Then they replace the walls. By 1,000 years, they have replaced everything from the sails to the helm. Is that still the same ship? They still call it the ship of Theseus, but that ship has been replaced. It's not the same ordinary original ship as it once was. So what preserved it to maintain that name, ship of Theseus, the identity? But then what is the identity? Is it as an association? Is it a name? What is this identity? And as mentioned earlier, many of us, when we say our identity, what do we refer to? If our iman may be weak, someone comes and ridicules us, we completely lose our identity. And by identity, I refer to the belief systems that we hold, the system of Allah, the doctrines of Islam, the ideology you associate with. If that is shaky, if the foundation was weak, the whole building may collapse, my dear respected brothers and sisters. With that being said, the human also goes through changes and cycles. After about 5 days, the glands inside your stomach replace and replenish themselves. After a few months, all your hair is gone and it replaces itself. After 15 years, every single cell in your body has replaced itself, including the cells in your bones. Are you still you? What makes you you? A name? You're not a name. An age? That will always change. It's contingent. An occupation? Who's to say you're not going to get fired? Or who's to say you're going to stay and maintain that? Eventually you will retire. And there have been other people with the same occupation. So that's not you. Even your literal physique and self replenishes itself. So how do you know who you are and where you lie in this world, this circus of a world we live in? We come, we stay, we return back. But who is me and who am I? This discussion is very vital, as mentioned earlier, being Muslims living in the West. Why? Because some of our youth don't know what to identify themselves as. Am I Canadian, Muslim, American? But originally I was Iraqi, and then I came. So am I Iraqi, Muslim, American? That's a lot of things to call yourself. But I'm not just that. I'm an Iraqi, Muslim, American. Hey, maybe I'm dual citizenship. Canadian, and I'm a student. What are your many things here? Learn the clarity of identity. You'll then know yourself. Why is this discussion important? Because it's fundamental in the professional world. Who are you? You are this, and this is your occupation. In the communal world, with our communities and in our societies, how people perceive us and recognize us. And in the spiritual world, how do I know myself? For indeed, that hadith that really underlines this subject very well. مَنْ عَرِفَ نَفْسَهُ فَقَدْ عَرِفَ رَبَّهُ. Whoever discovers themselves will indeed discover their Lord. I want to go back to my Lord. I want to know Allah. Allah says there's a solution. Here's a formula. Know yourself. Don't be a pawn or a black, or like a sheep, a black sheep. You stand out being unique for this attention and gravitation. No. And don't just be a sheep or you follow what everyone else wants you to follow. Be you. But how do you become you? How do you identify with yourself? How do you know what you believe in is true? As mentioned before, if I was born in another country, I may not have been a follower of Ahlul Bayt. In fact, there's this hadith by Rasulullah that really puts things into perspective. That he says, my ummah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, says, my ummah will be divided into 73 groups. All of them will be wrong. Only one of them will be with haqq. Only one of them will be correct, will be with righteousness. How do I know, when I look in the world today, I'm Muslim, good, I'm on the right side. But which kind of a Muslim are you? There are many sects. And above sects, there are what is referred to as paths, tariqah. You find if someone says, I may be a follower of Ahlus Sunnah. Yes, but are you Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, Hanbali? Yes, but if you're that, are you Sufi? And if you're Sufi, are you Naqshbandi, Bektashi, Mawlawi? What are you? There's many things you can call yourself. Mawlawi for those that follow Mawlana Jalaluddin al-Rumi. Bektashi for those that follow Bektash Wali. These are tariqah, spiritual pathways people take. How do I know what I'm following is true? There are so many places. There are so many areas. What you start with is a common barometer. I believe in the Quran. Stop right there. And then you build up, because you have to have a strong foundation. If your foundation is weak, how do you think you're going to construct a building? Start with a strong foundation. Be confident in your faith. What is faith? You have to have confidence. And that word faith is very shaky, because linguistically speaking, faith is the belief in something with a lack of evidence. That's why they say, have faith. You don't know, so have faith. No, Islam says, no, I want you to know. So it's not faith necessarily. It's a way of life. It tells you what to do and how to conduct yourself with it. So let's not say have faith, but have belief, objective truth. Start with the Quran. Why is it we have to have that strong foundation? Because when we reach that point, let's say, God forbid, of identity crisis, many people describe it as reaching rock bottom. I don't know what I believe in. I just followed because my parents said follow this, do that. I live in a society that doesn't recognize exactly what I believe in. In fact, in 2016 alone, at least in America, there was a spike in Islamophobia. Many Muslims were being targeted. Sisters had their hijab ripped off in school. And just recently, maybe you have seen the current video, a sister in a high school was discussing or having an altercation with another non-Muslim girl in the bathroom. She was telling her that you're not allowed to smoke. She wanted to smoke in here. And so the girl said, you know what, you don't tell me what to do. And this altercation occurred. And so what was interesting was the sister that wanted to do something wrong and smoke in the restroom said, you know what, you're lucky you come from another language. I can tell she was probably skipping English class to go and do that. I don't know if English is her skill. She should probably stay. But what happened then was, haven't you seen the video? It was very unfortunate. It's very sad. It went viral. And we have many organizations like CARE came forth and issued statements that this was wrong. And then they got into a fight. The girl pushed the Muslimah, tried ripping her hijab off, and created this ugly, unfortunate scene. That this Islamophobic ransom, this Islamophobic behavior became prevalent. And the remnants are still alive. It doesn't end. Why? And that may lead to an identity crisis. I'm not welcomed in society. I don't know who wants me, who doesn't want me. I don't feel safe. Generally, the formula for that is leave. Allah's earth is wide. If you really do not feel safe in an area, Allah's earth is wide. So go someplace else. However, that's not always an option. Who can just say, okay, I'm not good here, I'm going to leave? Who can say that? That's hard to do. It's difficult. You have to have the means. You have to have the provisions. You have to have money to say, I'm going to leave. This area doesn't want me. This community doesn't want me. That child doesn't want me. What do? I leave. I just go. But that's not easy. So what you have to then do is accept the situation, the fact of the matter, and deal with it. But that's uncomfortable. That's hard for me to do. What I then suggest for my sisters, that if you live a life daily of uncomfort, of harassment, of bullying, of being abused, if that's your day-to-day norm, if that's how you live, then I highly suggest to my sisters, take self-defense classes, really. You can't go, take what? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo, Karate. Defend yourself if you're ever placed in a situation. Do what you have to do. And for my respected brothers, that if you feel unsafe, maybe perhaps if you're going somewhere, take someone else with you. Feel safe. Don't live a life of constant fear, of constant bullying, of constant harassment. First thing to do, try leaving. I can't leave. Who says I'm going to go? Where am I going to go? Second thing to do, surround yourself with other brothers and sisters that can be as a source of guidance and protection for you. Learn to stand for yourself, to stand and defend yourself even in some cases. Learn to raise your head held high and say, I am a Muslim, Muslimah, proud. I will not succumb to you. Succumbing to somebody is giving up. It's this game of tug and war. They're tugging. Don't just give up. Tug harder. Don't give them what they want, because the Islamophobe, what do they want? They want you to lose in this ongoing battle of we're right, you're wrong. No, we're right. You're the one that's wrong. By showing them they're wrong involves maintaining and preserving your Islamic identity. These sisters that come and say, you know what, I'm uncomfortable, I'll remove my hijab for the safety of my well-being. I understand that, my respected sister. However, you're giving them the upper hand. You're saying, you won, I lost, I'm a loser. I became inferior, I can't handle this anymore. No, you hold your head with pride. And the brothers here, some of them opt to changing their names. See, there's more emphasis on the sisters because I see her, Muslimah, hijab, done. For the brothers, not necessarily, unless he's wearing like an amama or something like that. But I can't really tell if he's Muslim. So what do? Their only problem and obstacle is their name. His name is Muhammad, change it to Mo. Ali, change it to Alex. Adam, keep it as Adam because that doesn't really sound like exclusively Islamic. There was a brother, and this is a story years ago, in Dearborn, Michigan, in the great US of A. His name, he's a Muslim Shi'i. His name is an old story. His name is Muhammad Jumu'ah. He changed his name. He called himself Michael Friday. So he went from Muhammad Michael. Okay. But your last name? Muhammad Jumu'ah Michael Friday. Why? Because that's better for me here, you know? It's okay. Number one, Dearborn is very, mashallah, the community is large. But second thing is don't succumb to this, oh, I don't feel safe here, let me change my name in order to give them the right way to think. No. You hold your name with pride. You hold your hijab with pride. You hold your identity with pride. When you ever experience identity crisis, that feeling, they describe it as hitting rock bottom. Do you know why it's a mercy to hit rock bottom? Because hitting rock bottom, there's nothing underneath it. It's rock bottom. You can't get lower. That's a great place to start building a foundation and constructing upwards. You hit rock bottom, maybe that's rahmah. Maybe it's mercy. Because I can't get lower. I can't. Society feels like it's going against me. School is going against me. Going home, no one cares about me. I've hit rock bottom. That's a great place to start building up now because it's rock bottom. You can't get any deeper. So work and construct. When you construct, we go back now, construct using the Holy Quran. I am not a name, nor am I an age, nor am I an occupation, nor am I whatever, nor am I my looks, because those will change, nor am I even my own biology, because after 15 years, even the cells in my bones will replenish and change. What moves on? Who am I? My identity with my belief system. Start with the Holy Quran. That I am not only Muslim, I am a proud Muslim, Shi'i, Ithnay Ashari, proud. And you emphasis on the Shi'i part. Because sadly today, there is this movement, at least online, in particular in London, where people publicly go out and they want to debate, and they want to discuss, and they want to say, you Shia this, you Shia that. What better time to discuss our principles and values other than the time in which we commemorate the martyrdom of a Siddiqa, Fatimah al-Zahra, salamullahi alayha, sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. What are our belief systems to use and identify ourselves with? As a Shi'i, as a proud Shi'i, don't succumb to anybody. They may be more in numbers, but you are stronger at heart. You say the Quran, Allah, and the Ahlul Bayt. Quran, Allah, Ahlul Bayt. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam would describe the Ahlul Bayt and describe them as all of them are one light source. كلهم نور واحد. They're one illumination. So when you say Ahlul Bayt, you also mean Rasulullah. But when you say Rasulullah, you also mean Ahlul Bayt. And why is this vital to discuss before we begin constructing our foundation, beginning with the Quran, moving on forth with Nabuwwah, then Imamah? Why is this so fundamental? Because this discussion has so much effect within our lives as Muslims in the West, especially for those that may experience degrees of Islamophobia. Because do you know who the true victims of Islamophobia were? Brothers and sisters, if I can have your attention. The true victims of Islamophobia, do you know who they really were? The Ahlul Bayt. Ahlul Bayt were the true victims of Islamophobia. Imam Ali alayhi salam, for 70 years, the smear propaganda campaign of cursing his name on the minbar every single Friday that was inaugurated by Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan, la'natullah alayh. Every Friday, the name of Imam Ali was cursed on the minbar. This was why, how much are you afraid of him? So that you have to make sure children are raised hating him. You must have had a deep fear. You sincerely had a phobia against Imam Ali. You had Islamophobia, but in particular, you had Ali phobia. Ahlul Bayt were the biggest victims of Islamophobia. But it doesn't just end there. It continues with Imam al-Hassan al-Mujtaba. You then consult with Imam al-Hassan's wife, disobedient, Ju'da bint al-Ash'ath, to go and poison him. How much did you fear Imam al-Hassan? How big of a phobia did you have against him so that you had to go and succumb to that level and assassinate him? But it doesn't just stop there, my dear respected brothers and sisters. It goes onwards. Abu Abdullah alayhi salam was the true, largest, biggest victim of Islamophobia like you've never seen. They were so afraid of him that they didn't only take him out, they took his 6-month-old baby out. How afraid are you of Abu Abdullah that you didn't only remove him, you removed his family? You, O Hussein, salamullahi alayk, are the true victim of Islamophobia. But it's not just the fact that Islamophobia comes from non-Muslims. It can come from Muslims too. Muslims can be afraid of other Muslims. I find it happening to the greats of Al-Muhammad. It's not surprising I see it happening today in the 21st century to the followers of Al-Muhammad. And let's not get deeper with politics, but you find that continues. Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, you don't stop there. He poisons him as well, the Khalifa at that time. Al-Baqir, with all his knowledge and wisdom. Baqir al-Ulum, how afraid were you from him that you said, you know what, I have to poison him, that Khalifa. Al-Mansur al-Diwaniqi, why then did you then poison al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam? How afraid were you from him? Was he going to have a rise and overthrow you? Ahlul Bayt were not familiar with that custom. They don't overthrow people. They teach people. They guide people. My dear respected brothers and sisters, that doesn't stop. Al-Imam al-Kadhim, you put him in jail for over 20 years? How afraid were you from him? What level of phobia did you have that you didn't just stop with the Imams preceding him? You call yourself Muslim, Harun al-Abbasi, then you imprison my Imam? What did he do to you? You must have been so afraid of him. Ahlul Bayt were the true victims of Islamophobia. That's why whenever we see someone being a victim of any Islamophobic action, remember the Ahlul Bayt. Have some remembrance, because they can come and take you out of that situation. Because if they can handle it, I know I can. Because nobody experienced what they did. Who substantiates that claim? Imam al-Hassan al-Mujtaba. What more do you need? What does he say? La yawm ka yawmuka ya Aba Abdullah. There will never be a day like your day. You are the true victim of attack, of belittling, of marginalizing, of ostracizing, of banishment, of neglect, of betrayal. Muslims were fighting you. It's not like kuffar came. It's not like people that were mushriks. People that pray 5 times and did salah and did zakat and whatever they did came and they killed you. You were the true victim of Islamophobia by self-proclaimed Muslims. That's why when I look at you, I have no excuse to complain. Maybe the person might snatch my hijab, but nobody came and snatched you from your own father. Nobody came and pushed you aside and said to you that, hey, now your whole family is gone. Maybe some people have experienced difficult situations like this. That's why we have utmost respect, irrespective of their faith. Islam is a humanitarian message. People who experience any form of oppression, we stand for them. We stand with them. We stand alongside them. Rasulullah would say, "Man sami'a munadiyan yunadi ya lil muslimin wa lam yajibhu falaysa what? Bimuslim." Whoever hears a Muslim, whoever hears a Shi'i, Sunni, Ash'ari, Mu'tazili, Hanabi, Hanab, whoever hears a person, "Man sami'a munadiyan," anyone screaming, yunadi what? Ya lil muslimin, oh Muslims, come and help me. Walam yajibhu falaysa bi Muslim, and doesn't respond, not a Muslim. Brother, forget your Sawm and forget your Salah. That oppressed person called for your help. We look at people being oppressed in some countries today, victimized by other self-proclaimed Muslims. We don't want to get political, but the situation is very sad, and they're calling out for help. They don't need to be Muslims. And if they are Muslim, there's more emphasis and focus. Do you guys recall the Rohingya crisis in Myanmar? Calling out for help? How many people looked at them and said to them, these are my own Muslim brothers and sisters. Irrespective of background, they are human beings. Who substantiates that claim? Amir al-Mu'mineen, الناس صنفان أما أخ لك في الدين أو نظير لك في الخلق. They're two, brother in religion, equal in humanity. Yes, they may not pray like you. Yes, they may not be Muslim, but they have a heart, you have a heart. They have eyes, you have eyes. They have a nose, you have a nose. They're your equal in humanity. By virtue of them being your equal in humanity, have some dignity. Show them dignity. Show them respect. Honor them. Islam came as a humanitarian message, not exclusive and confined for the 7th century Arabian Peninsula or the people that live there. No, for the entire world. The ayah we mentioned yesterday, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, describing Rasulullah. We have sent you to be as a mercy to the Muslims, to the Arab, to the Ajam, to the Canadians, to all of mankind and womankind. It's not just man and womankind. Alameen, what's in this alam? Animals, trees, plants, everything. Everything must experience rahmah from Rasulullah. And if that is so, then everything must experience rahmah for his al, because they are him and he is them. As he says, كُلُّهُمْ نُورٌ وَاحِدٌ عَلِيٌّ مِنِّي وَأَنَا مِنْ عَلِي. And there's this hadith, we don't mention it that much. Al-Hasan minni wa ana min al-Hasan. Hasan is from me and I am from him. Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Husayn. They are from me, I understand. They're your kids. They're your grandkids. But how are you from them, Ya Rasulullah? How are you from Husayn? How is that the case? Because had it not been for the stance of Ali, Hassan, Husayn, and other Imams of Ahlul Bayt, Rasulullah's message would have died. So they rose, revived his message. He is from them like they are from him. With that being said, establishing this foundation, say, I am a Shi'i, Ithni, Ashari, and I don't care if you have a problem. This is my identity. This is how I identify myself with. And I begin with the Quran. The Quran calls me. The Quran describes me. Because there is this ugly, ugly debate going on. People will come and approach, and they use the worst language. Prove to me Imam in the Holy Quran. Show me where I have to follow 12 people from the Holy Quran. Look at this language. 12 people like there are other ordinary random people you find in the street. Show me where I have to find them in the Holy Quran. When you and I both know that it doesn't say follow 12 individuals in the Holy Quran. But when you combine Quran and Ahlul Bayt, as Rasulullah, as you and I both agree, said on the event of Ghadir, no one denies this event. It's not a partisan issue. It's bipartisan. Both of us agree that on that day he raised the hand of a particular person and said, "Inni tarikun fikum al-thaqalain ma in tamassaktum bihima lan tadillu ba'di abada kitab Allah wa itrati ahl bayti." How do you know Ahlul Bayt are ma'sumin? He synchronized them with the Quran. Kitabullah wa itrati. Put them together. Not this, then that. Wa, and. If the Quran is ma'soom, whatever he levels it with must also be ma'soom. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Moving forth. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Or inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. The ayah in the Holy Quran. They approached the Holy Prophet. Describe the ayah to us. Allah and His angels send their salutations to Rasulullah. O you, so us now, the direction is to us, who believe, send your salutations. Sallu alayhi wa sallimu. Taslim is submit. Sallu alayhi, send your salutations. Wa sallimu, submit to him. Taslima. They came to Rasulullah. How do we send our salutations to you? Like this? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Like that? Rasulullah responded instantly, La tusallu alayya salat al-batra. Don't pray to me the incomplete, or don't send your salutations to me the incomplete form, the incomplete way. They asked Rasulullah, what is the salatul batra? Al-abtar is the incomplete one. In the famous Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar, fasalli li rabbika wanhar, inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. And the famous story of Al-As ibn Wa'il approaches Rasulullah. Ya Muhammad, you have no sons. And he laughs at him. Look how he calls him, Ya Muhammad. You have no kids. Your lineage has stopped. Allah revealed the ayah. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. What do you mean his lineage stopped? I've given him al-kawthar. One of the titles of Sayyidatuna Zahra, al-kawthar. Fasalli li rabbika wanhar. And pray to your Lord and sacrifice to Him. And Allah now responds to Al-As bin Wa'il, Inna shani'aka huwal abd. Your lineage is the one that's going to be cut off. Interestingly enough, Al-As bin Wa'il is known to be the father of Al-Amr ibn Al-As. If the Quran says you will not have a lineage, how is Amr your son? Bring to me any DNA test, they won't be able to answer that one. And Rasulullah would continue, don't pray to me or send your salutations to me, the incomplete form. They would say, Ya Rasulullah, then how do we avoid sending your salutations to you the incomplete form, the incomplete way? He would say, send your salawat this way. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala. Allah continues in the Holy Quran, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمْ خَيْرُ الْبَرِيَّةِ. That for indeed the ones who believe and do good, they are amongst the greatest of creation. And this is a bipartisan hadith, so it's not like we accept it and no one else accepts it. Rasulullah was then approached, Ya Rasulullah, who are khayrul bariyya? The response was very powerful. Who are the greatest of creation? Rasulullah looked at Amir al-Mu'mineen and said, Ya Ali, hum anta wa shi'atuka yawm al-qiyamati radiyyin mardiyyin. They are you and your Shi'a, satisfied and gratified on the day of judgment. So it's not us who gave this title Shi'a of Ali. It was Rasulullah who gave us the title. And we get that and stem that from the Holy Quran. Khayrul Bariyya, question, who are Khayrul Bariyya? Oh Ali, it is you and your Shi'a, the day of judgment, gratified and satisfied. Radiyyin mardiyin. So it's not like we called ourselves Shi'a of Ali. Rasulullah gave us that name. Rasulullah called us this. Moving on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're constructing our foundation. We begin with the Quran, now we're building. Identify with yourself. These principles represent me proudly, confidently. Be confident. Your faith, if it's not confident, why are you believing in it? Just to practice something randomly, just because parents said so? They may be a support, a motivation as to why I may follow what I follow. But at the end of the day, I am a free human being and I have to think for myself. Moving on. Inna Allah wa malaikatuhu, we said. Inna alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati ulaikum, we said. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would say that uti'u Allah wa uti'u Rasul. Several times he would repeat that in the Quran. Obey Allah, obey the Prophet. But then he adds a continuation. Uti'u Allah wa uti'u Rasul wa ulil amri minkum. And those who are in charge from amongst you. They asked Al-Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, who are they? He would respond, it is us Ahlul Bayt. We are the ones in charge from amongst you. Allah, ma'soom. Rasulullah, ma'soom. Ulil amr, fallible to error and sin, non-ma'soom. Would that make sense? Give me the perfect, rid me away from the imperfect. Why would you suggest that they are the ones in charge of me if they're not perfect? Leave me the one that's only perfect. Indeed, only then that proves that there has to be a level of divine purity in this element right here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will then continue in another ayah. We're constructing this foundation and now we've built it. Now we're building the building. إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ. Many times this ayah is brought forth to use to substantiate our belief that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is meant to be, was declared the authority after the Prophet, after Allah. Allah, Prophet, Imam Ali. And this is also not a bipartisan issue. إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ. Surely, and I'm going to say only wali. Surely your wali is Allah. وَرَسُولُهُ, and the Prophet. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and those that believe. Question. If we keep saying this is Imam Ali, the Quran is saying this is plural, multiple. وَالَّذِينَ, not وَالَّذِي. وَالَّذِينَ, it's multiple. It's a lot. So it's not referring to Amir al-Mu'mineen as some may say. It's just referring to the leaders of our ummah. Perhaps the khulafa, because there are multiple. You seem to forget that the Quran, when it says something in the plural, it's using it as a form of majesty. Otherwise, don't read the Quran then, because you'll have trouble reading نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. We bring to you the greatest stories. Who's we? Allah? But there's multiple gods now. I thought Allah was قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Why is He we? نَحْنُ. When He says نَحْنُ, that's a form of majesty and glorification. In this ayah, Allah is glorifying Amir al-Mu'mineen. Why? Because He's not using His name. So He wants to show you that this person here is glorified. Yes, I didn't use his name, but I'm basically spoon feeding you. It's pretty obvious. Because what? The characteristics that then form afterwards. الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ. They are the ones who during their prayer, what do? وَيُؤْتُونَ zakat. They give zakat, charity in their prayer. Only one man in history, Islamic history, was able to successfully, while they were praying, وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ, while they were arching in ruku', gave charity to the poor. And the story goes as such. And this is not narrated in only books of Ahlul Shi'a, as well as Ahlul Sunnah, our wonderful Sunni brothers and sisters. Read Tafsir al-Mizan, read Tafsir al-Qummi, read Tafsir al-Amthal. That's the answer. Read Tafsir Fakhr al-Din al-Razi, which is a source from our brothers and sisters. Read Tafsir Ibn Kathir, the strongest tafsir. This says Ali ibn Abi Talib. No one denies that. Because only he was able to pray in ruku', give zakat. The man walks in, he sees Imam Ali doing ruku'. Amir al-Mu'mineen, when he does his ruku', history says that he did it long. His ruku' was always long, prolonged. His sujood was always long, prolonged. He prays to Allah, he puts everything in it. Rasulullah, it states that his salah was a bit not as long as Amir al-Mu'mineen's. Why? Because he was always conducting the affairs of the Muslims. They would always come up to him for help and advice and consultations. So he would make sure that he would give time for them. Amir al-Mu'mineen, of course, after not receiving the Khilafah like he rightfully deserved, 20 odd or so years, 23 years, Imam Ali would then immerse himself in this ibadah, prolong his salah, prolong his sujood. There are many narrations that describe Imam Ali would be praying 1,000 times a day. Interesting, there was a guy that came up to one of our grand scholars, Ayatollah Sayyid Abdul A'la Sabzawari, Qaddasallahu Sirra. A student came up to him and said, Sayyiduna, how did Imam Ali, they say in one hadith, prayed like 2,000 times a day? He's busy. He's always dealing with issues here and there. He could be solving a problem here. Where does he have time to do worship, ibadah 2,000 times a day? Sayyid Abdul A'la Sabzawari, rahmatullah alayhi, responds. He's like, don't worry about Imam Ali praying 2,000 times a day. I pray 5,000 times a day. How? You're going to make me go crazy now. How? Ibadah is not confined to just salah. النظر في وجه أخيك عبادة. Looking at right now, I'm looking at my blessed brother here, who gave us a very wonderful presentation earlier. Looking at your brothers and sisters right now, give a good look at your brother and sister. Worshipping Allah by doing that. Smiling is sadaqah. Sadaqah is not ibadah? Ibadah. Looking at your parents is ibadah. Rasulullah would say, النظر في وجه علي عبادة. That looking at Amir al-Mu'mineen is ibadah. Looking at that dharih, that shrine of Sayyiduna Amir al-Mu'mineen is ibadah. Conducting your day, ibadah. Saying Bismillah before you eat, eating becomes ibadah. Worship is not confined to just 5 times I do salah. You can make your whole day ibadah. Imam Ali alayhi salam would then be approached. Someone help me, I'm a poor man. As he's doing ruku', he signals with his finger, a ring he's wearing. Come and take it. He's not speaking, but he's signaling, come and take my ring like this. As he's in the middle of his prolonged ruku', the man notices, gets the message, takes the ring from the finger, the blessed finger of Imam Ali, as sadaqah, as zakat, as charity. He accomplished that. So unfortunately, some desperate attempts have been made to defame this achievement. What do they say? They say, yeah, it's okay, he gave sadaqah, okay. But he should have been focusing on salah. Habib, don't worry, Imam Ali is the walking, talking salah. He's the walking, talking Quran. I think his salah is perfect. But that's what they desperately do sometimes, argue that he should have been focusing on salah. A man comes in, you're not supposed to look at that guy. You're not supposed to think of them, especially not signal with your finger. Your attention wasn't 100% in salah. Look at the attempt. Look what they do. The response is number 1. Imam Ali was doing what? Ibadah? Ibadah. He went from one form of ibadah to another form of ibadah. He did two at one. Two birds, one stone. It wasn't like his attention went elsewhere. No, he found another opportunity to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That I'm getting closer with salah, I'm going to get even closer by making it that I also give sadaqah. And who? Charity, zakat. And who says that this was bad if Allah put it in the Holy Quran as a form of awlawiyya? Because what does the beginning of the ayah say? إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ. They are your wali. Question, what does wali mean? Fine, I get it. This was an achievement. Imam Ali went from one ibadah to another. But what does wali mean? Wali could mean friend, I agree. Arabic is a very ambiguous language. Synonymity exists. Ain means eye, can mean kneecap, ain al-rakaba, could mean gold, could mean well, could mean city center, ain al-Madina, can mean many things. Arabic is ambiguous, I agree. Wali can mean friend. It can also mean authority, but fine, wali can mean friend. I would agree, had it not been for the ayah before it, what does the ayah say? This is in chapter 5, verse 55. Chapter 5, verse 51. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض ومن يتولهم منكم فإنه منهم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. O you who believe, do not take the Jews and Christians as what? If you say that wali, إنما وليكم Allah means friends, Allah is your friend, then you have to say that this ayah preceding it also means friends. Allah is telling me don't take the Jews and Christians as friends? Is that what Islam is all about? No? Good job. The only person that knows. The Quran doesn't say that. It contradicts that. Why? What does the other ayah say? The same chapter, what does it say? وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى ذَلِكَ بأن منهم قسيسين ورهبانا وأنهم لا يستكبرون. وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً. Mawadda is above friendship. Mawadda is pure love. Allah says you will find that those who are closest to you are the ones that call themselves, we are Christians. الذين, the ones who are Christians. الذين قالوا إنا نصارى. Closeness in what? أقربهم مودة, in love. Love is above friendship. If the Quran says they are close to you because they are close in relation to love, how does then the Quran tell me don't be friends with them? So that understanding of wali being friend is wrong. Because the Quran says they are close to you in love. I'm supposed to love my Christian brothers and sisters. I'm supposed to love my Jewish brothers and sisters. But then right here it says don't take them as friends. That's a contradiction. And the Quran doesn't contradict itself. So either the Quran is contradicting itself or the definition is wrong. What's the actual definition of wali here? Awlawiyya. Some will then say awlawiyya, لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء, could mean allies. Friends, we said no, fine, I accept. It doesn't mean friend, because the Quran will then come and say, be friends with the Jews. But how do I know it doesn't mean allies? Don't take the Jews and Christians as allies. And then later on Allah says, take Allah as an ally, Rasulullah as an ally, and Imam Ali as an ally. How do I know it doesn't mean ally? What does an ally mean? Those that you share mutual benefits with for commodity in order to promote society. An ally. Allies with a nation. We share mutual benefits. Commodity, for safety, we look out for each other. That will then contradict the same Quran and the same Rasulullah. Don't take the Jews and Christians as allies when Rasulullah took them as allies. Medina, how many Jewish tribes? Banu Qaynuqa', Banu Nadir, Banu Qurayza. They would pay jizya, ideally. The Muslims would pay zakat. Allies share common mutual benefits. So it doesn't mean allies then. It doesn't mean friend then. So what does it mean? Don't take them as authority. But sometimes, we have to answer a question now. If I can't take the Jews and Christians as authority, what am I doing living in the West? My president could be Jewish, my mayor could be Christian, my whatever could be whatever. So I can't live here. No, it's referring to those Jews and Christians. Why? An event occurred. A man by the name of Abdullah ibn Salul, when we migrated into Medina from Mecca, they saw that The Jewish tribes were very plenty, and the Muslims were small in numbers. So he felt inferior. I'm weak here. I'm going to side with the Jews. I'm going to take them as authority. Allah revealed it. Don't take them as authority when Rasulullah is living in the same city as you. So this does not transcend time. Doesn't mean every Jew and Christian. No, because the Quran says you'll find them مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَقْرَبُهُم, that they're the closest. وَلَتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبُهُم مَوَدَّةً. They're the closest to me in love. How do I not take them as allies? That's wrong. How do I not take them as authority if sometimes they're the most qualified in my business? So that discussion is off. It's referring to those Jews and those Christians 1,400 years ago. So Allah, number one, 551, says don't take them as an authority. 555, He then gives you an alternative authority. Because if He tells you don't do this, He wants to then fill that void that He emptied out. I'm going to tell you what you should do. Take me. إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ Not those Jews and Christians in Medina. Don't take them. Take Allah. وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَمِيرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. What happens though? 555 says who you should take as authority. What's the consequence of taking Allah, Messenger, Amir al-Mu'minin as your authority? 556, the next ayah, which is very strong. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَإِنَّ حِزْبُ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. And whoever takes Allah, Rasulullah, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَمِيرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ as their authority, then the divine party, Hizbullah, the godly divine party, telling me Allah, infallible, ma'soom. Rasulullah, infallible, ma'soom. Imam Ali, fallible to sin and error? He just said they are from divine party, so he must be divine. What happens when you join that divine party? Humul ghalibun, they are the victorious ones. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أولئك هم خير البرية. Rasulullah responds, Ya Ali, hum anta wa shi'atuka yawm al-qiyamati radiyyin mardiyin. They are the ones who call themselves Shi'a of Ali. They took you as that divine wali. And because of that, they are ghalibeen. They are successful. They are victorious. Radiyyin mardiyin. That's how we establish our belief, using the Quran. But then we continue and expand. Our message continues and goes and overflows. We don't stop with Amir al-Mu'mineen, alayhi salam. We'll continue with that, moving forward. Right now, Imam Ali, alayhi salam, is not amongst us. Ahlul Bayt are gone, alayhum salam, but their essence lives on. We have our Imam of our time, the Imam of our time. Al-Imam al-Mahdi, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif. But I'm in a situation where my Imam is not present, in ghaiba, occultation. So how do I know? Because right now we're talking about identity crisis. We're still talking about this, don't forget. So be proud, but don't forget. How do I know that what I believe in is the way to go? Because my Imam is not here to guide me. I took Imam Ali as my wali, but I wish he was here to tell me what to do, what not to do. I took Al-Imam al-Jawad as my wali, but I wish he was here to tell me what to do, what not to do. I took Al-Askari alayhi salam, but I wish he was here to tell me, Imam Zaman is here, but he's not here to tell me what to do and what not to do. So who do I go to? We have maraji', our scholars, but how do I know if they're right, if they're wrong? These thoughts come into mind, you then find yourself going down a spiral, identity crisis. How do I know if this is right? I accept everything. I accept the Ahlul Bayt as the representatives of Allah after Rasulullah, because I have enough respect to know that Rasulullah would never leave his house without somebody staying behind to watch it. How on earth will he leave the Muslim Ummah without someone to guide it? Did he just trust everyone? Yeah, go have a vote. You pick who's God's representative. You pick God's Khalifa. I didn't know we choose who represents Allah. I thought Allah chooses who He wants to represent. That's not the case. I believed in Ahlul Bayt after Rasulullah directly came, the Ahlul Bayt. But how do I know right now? How do I approach Rasulullah? How do I approach Ahlul Bayt? I can only go to the next best thing, my ulama, my scholars. But how do I know if that's right? The answer is found after a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A second with your loudest of voices. A third for the love of Fatima to Zahra with your loudest of voices. How do I know if I follow what I follow is true? The answer is found with one man by the name of Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri. Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri, the first wakil representative of Imam al-Mahdi. And then his son, Muhammad bin Uthman al-Amri. How are they the answer to this dilemma right here? How? Why them exactly? The wukala were four: Uthman bin Sa'id al-Amri, Muhammad bin Uthman, Hussein bin Rawh, Ali bin Muhammad. Why are those two important? Because Uthman bin Sa'id, these are the representatives of Sahib al-Zaman when he went to ghaiba, occultation. What's important about these two, Uthman bin Sa'id and his son Muhammad bin Uthman, is that Al-Imam al-Jawad, Al-Imam al-Hadi, Al-Imam al-Askari, and Sahib al-Amr all saw and accepted them. Al-Imam al-Askari said, Al-Amri wabnuhu thiqatan. Al-Amri, Uthman bin Sa'id, and his son Muhammad are thiqa. If four imams, and this is muwathaq, this is accepted widely by the handwritten writing of Ahlul Bayt, which later our ulama like Shaykh al-Saduq would say, I am writing this narration while I'm looking at the handwriting of the Ahlul Bayt. That four imams gave clarification and authority to these two men. Him and his son are authority. Four imams, not one, not two, not three, four imams said these two are thiqatan, are reliable. I take them, fine. Thiqa. If this thiqa tells me that after me, by the way, is Hussein bin Rawh, the third wakil, I'm going to accept what he says. Because four imams said he is a very reliable representative. Hussein bin Rawh, I have accepted you. And then after you, Ali bin Muhammad, I accepted you. Ali bin Muhammad, what happened now? He then says, right now, Sahib al-Amr has told me, because they speak to the Imam directly. And from the Imam, they inform the people. But they do it discreetly. Because of the Khulafa, Banu Abbas, if they catch them, they're going to be gone. You know what's interesting? Al-Shaykh al-Kulayni, Thiqatul Islam, was alive during the lifetime of Uthman bin Sa'id and Muhammad bin Uthman. But he is like the greatest, grandest of maraja. You can think about him like that. Really great ulama. Uthman bin Sa'id was not a scholar. Not a scholar. He would sell. He was a businessman. His son was not an alim. Al-Shaykh al-Kulayni is alive. Question, why didn't Sahib al-Zaman, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif, not pick Al-Shaykh al-Kulayni, who's more knowledgeable than these other men at that time? Why did he not pick him to be his representative, his wakil? Do you know why? Look at how the rahmah of Allah works. It's a rahmah that he didn't. Why? The system of Allah. Al-Shaykh al-Kulayni, qaddasallahu sirra, would then compile Al-Kafi. Al-Kafi, compilation of over 16,000 hadiths. If Al-Imam al-Mahdi said that, yes, Al-Shaykh al-Kulayni is my wakil, everything in Al-Kafi would become sahih. Because if the representative of Sahib al-Zaman has a book, then that would then assume or postulate everything in that book has been approved by Sahib al-Amr. But we don't call Al-Kafi Sahih Al-Kafi like other books, because then you would be liable to everything the book says. Al-Kafi has contradictions in it, and Shaykh al-Kulayni says it does. He says it does. He says, I put one hadith that's correct and I put one that's wrong. I put the one that's wrong to compare it with the correct one. So you know why this one was wrong. If Imam alayhi salam said he is thiqa, he is my wakil, then everything in Al-Kafi would be sahih. But he didn't. He picked a businessman. He picked another businessman. He picked an ordinary person, not ulama. Look at how Ahlul Bayt work. They know what to do. They know who to pick for their representatives. And when the last wakil said, Ali bin Muhammad, Ayyuhan nas, I have an announcement to make. From now, Sahib al-Amr has concluded al-ghaybatu sughra. The minor occultation has finished. And now he will enter al-ghaybatu al-kubra. The major occultation will now commence. At that time, may Allah bless the followers of Ahlul Bayt. For they have an imam they can't access. We pray for them. The Imam prays for them. He's talking to us. We pray for them, and their Iman is considered double than any one of us or those that fought in Badr or those that fought in Hunayn. Why? Because Rasulullah is in front of them and he says, come to Islam. Imam al-Mahdi is not in front of me, but I still came to Islam. So I believed without seeing, because I saw not with my eyes, but with the heart of the soul. Basira is different than basar. That I see with my eyes, but there's a heart that also needs to be seen with, to look through, to use as a telescope and see and get into the roots and depth of the essence of this reality. Understand your identity. Beginning with that identity is the Quran. Constructing it is Ahlul Bayt. Like Rasulullah said, I leave two, Quran and Itra. Stay with them. You will never go astray. Concluding with, إِنِّي تَارِكُمْ فِيكُمْ مَثَقَلَيْنِ مَا أَنْتُمْ مَسَّكْتُمْ بِهِمَا لَن تَضِلُّوا بَعْدِي أَبَدًا. He then moved on and said that I now, أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ أَلَسْتُ أَوْلَى بِكُمْ مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. Do I not have a greater awla? So wali, friend, ally, awlawiyya, authority. أَوْلَى بِكُمْ مِنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. They said yes, قَالُوا بَلَى. Then he raised that hand. فَمَنْ كُنْتُ مَوْلَى فَهَذَا عَلِيٌّ مَوْلَى. Then whoever I was his authority, Ali ibn Abi Talib is his authority. Rasulullah said Ali, we went somewhere else. Rasulullah said Ghadir, we went Saqifa. Ghadir versus Saqifa, who won? Saqifa won. Saqifa won. Because if it was Ghadir, we would have started right after Rasulullah with Amir al-Mu'mineen. But we went somewhere else. Fine. Benefit of the doubt. Why a second time we don't go to Imam Ali? Fine. I believe in double chances. I believe in second chances. A third time you don't go to Amir al-Mu'mineen. You have the greatest option. Why do you go to somewhere else? You could be riding a tame stallion, as we said yesterday. You decided to ride a mule. But let's not get any deeper with that. With our construction and our building that we're building with, always keep in mind that the Ahlul Bayt are the Hujjaj, the representatives of Allah for the Nas, ala al-alameen, for the people. Al-Imam al-Hassan Al-Askari alayhi salam says in a very beautiful narration that we are the Hujjaj of Allah for the people. But our grandmother Fatima is the Hujjah upon us Ahlul Bayt. And I say, Ya Sayyidati, what sort of a Hujjah were you for the people? That they came and they took your right. And then they came and they oppressed you. You were a Hujjah for the Ahlul Bayt, who are a Hujjah for us. How can it be the case that right after the martyrdom of Rasulullah, immediately, a few weeks afterwards, that you are then taken away from your rights and then you are taken away from this earth? I ask a question. Why don't we know where she's buried? Why did she die angry at particular people? Why was this conspiracy a thing and a reality at the time? You find, my dear respected brothers and sisters, that this begins at ibadah, at the core of our salah. And no one did their salah like the salah of al-Zahra. And you find Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam narrates when he was about 8 years old, al-Mujtaba salamullahi alayh, he would say, I saw my mother at the middle of the night praying Salatul Layl, saying, Ilahi al-Af, 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 al-Af. My Lord, forgive me. My Lord, forgive me. And then he heard her continue saying, Oh Allah, pray for my neighbors. Pray for my family. Imam Hassan went up to Fatima to Zahra, his blessed mother, and he said, Ummah, you prayed for everybody, but you never prayed for yourself. Fatima to Zahra would say, Bunay Hassan, al-jar thumma dar. Oh my beloved Hassan, first comes the neighbor, then comes the household. You find that the mihrab of Fatima during these nights is empty, that the owner of that mihrab is no longer there. Asma bint Umays narrates that in the final moments of Fatima to Zahra's life, she came to me and said, Oh Asma, I am going to depart from this world, but I ask from you a favor. When Al-Hassan and Hussein return back to the home, please go and tell them, go and eat, because if they figured out that I have died, they will not eat. Amazing. She's going to pass away, but she's still thinking about her children and them having a meal. And then she continues, oh Asma, I will go to my room and begin praying. When you hear my voice has stopped, understand that I have returned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fatima Zahra went back to her room and began praying, saying, La ilaha illallah, subhanallah, alhamdulillah. You then find the voice of Az-Zahra would stop. Asma bint Umays returned to the room and said, O Sayyidati, Ya Sayyidati, ajibini, ablighi salami ila Rasulillah, sallallahu alayhi wa alih. At that moment there came a knock on the door. Al-Hassan and Hussein have returned. Asma said, O my beloved children, O the sons of Ali, O the sons of Fatima, go and eat. Imam al-Hassan said, O Asma, have you ever seen us eat without our blessed mother? Asma said, I insist. They said, where is our mother? Asma said, she is sleeping. They said, O Asma, it's not like our mother to go to sleep at this time. Then you find Imam al-Hassan and Hussein at the tender age of 7 and 8 returned to the room of their mother, and they saw their mother lying on the ground. They immediately ran to the masjid to tell their father, Amir al-Mu'mineen. They said, oh beloved father, our mother has passed away. They say Imam Ali was standing. When he heard that news, he instantly fell to the ground. This champion on the battlefield only falls once, and he fell when he heard about how his wife was treated and that she has now passed away. A day after, when they were going to bury Az-Zahra alayha salam, Imam Hassan, Hussein, As-Sayyida Zainab, and Amir al-Mu'mineen were gathered around her body moments before they buried her, and they were weeping and crying. Imam al-Hussein fell on the chest of his mother Fatima, and he said, Umma kallimini, ana waladuk al-Hussein. They say in one hadith, Jibreel came down, and he said, Ya Ali, move Hussein from the chest of Fatima. The angels cannot handle seeing Hussein on the chest of his mother. I say, oh angels, you couldn't handle seeing Hussein on the chest of his mother. How did you handle seeing Shimar on the chest of Hussein in Karbala? Hussein, ya Hussein, together. Hussein, ya Hussein, ya Hussein. Allahumma inna nas'aluka wa nad'uk باسمك العظيم الأعظم العز الأجل الأكرم.